You are surrounded by simple, obvious solutions that can dramatically increase your income, power, influence, and success. The problem is, you can't see them. Website Consulting Success quoted Jay Abraham as saying this, and it really does embody what the consulting can really give to you. Come with a problem that you might have, with an outside perspective, solve that problem, and be on their way. The Webster's Dictionary defines consulting as providing professional or expert advice, which is kind of vague in what it says, but it does give you an idea of what they can do, given the amount of fields that they actually do participate in. I first came in contact with a consultant at the airline that I work for, at a meeting I had, and she was able to kind of show me what she does on a daily basis, and I was completely in love with the good idea. So today what I wanted to do was go through the information about my career choice. I wanted to talk to you about 2 people I interviewed through email at my company, talk briefly about the future of the career as well as the history. So now that we've heard that, let's go ahead and jump back into history. So back in 1890, according to the Consulting Ideas website, Arthur D. Little came up with the first consulting company, so it has been around for some time. However, in 1914, Booz Allen Hamilton really changed the game by becoming more than one, challenging both industry and government together. And they are still one of the most widely known and originators of consulting out there. Now, they didn't grow on their own, nor did any of the other new companies. Back in 1933, the Glass-Steagall Act was enacted, which did hurt banks immensely. They couldn't communicate with each other, so they turned to consultants because they could. That kept pouring money into the industry and helped them with their future growth. The other thing that pushed them as well was after World War II, the economic growth within the United States and Europe basically skyrocketed these numbers up. They started seeing more and more revenue coming in. However, what wasn't mentioned was how consulting companies started becoming permanent pieces of some companies going forward. They would constantly have money set aside to have consulting companies on year after year after year, whether a huge problem was on their plate or not. So now that we've looked at that, I want to go ahead and jump into the 2 email interviews we had with the consultants. So the first one was Lynn Bruns. She was senior business consultant, and she was the person I met at the meeting. Katie Sparks was another one of her peers, and she deals with customer strategy on her end. They both came from different backgrounds. Lynn was a product management consultant beforehand, and Katie Sparks was a finance consultant before jumping on with us. Lynn deals with product strategy, as I might have mentioned, and Katie dealt with customer strategy. Primary skill set, business acumen for Lynn Bruns, because she doesn't deal directly with the customer. She deals with numbers, charts, Excel spreadsheets, things of that nature. So she had to be able to control what that information meant and how we're going to move forward with it. Katie does deal with the customer directly, so she says interpersonal communication is her biggest thing, and she does use that to her advantage to be able to connect with the customer, find out what they like, what they don't, and how we're going to move forward with that. Now, rewards and challenges were also something they both had in their email interview, and Lynn loves seeing how those numbers are growing. She loves being on early calls and seeing that number move forward constantly. Katie, however, likes to see how her little ideas and little feedback she might have had from someone become something bigger than they thought it was really going to be. New customer service pitches or whatever it might have been. Challenges revolve around technology in some respect. They don't have as much technology as they would like to have, sometimes to analyze data faster so that they can actually get decisions made to move them to market. And that was one of the things that Lynn brought up, was that time to market for her product sometimes can take years for it to happen when she would like to have it happen in months. They both had similar feedback on how to become a consultant. So degrees in business management, marketing, finance were going to be the biggest thing that she said, as well as doing taking advantage of our internal university that we have, doing a lot of the classes there to find out what our airline's made of, what have we used for profit in the past, how can we change that in the future. So now that we've heard about those interviews, let's go ahead and jump into the future as a consultant. So the future of the consultant is secure as long as the economy is secure, and I'll kind of prove that here in a second. So $58.7 billion that we spent last year in consulting, according to Wall Street Journal, and that was a 7.1% growth over last year, over the year before. Cybersecurity came in at 30% growth on that, and financial services overall came in at $14.8 billion. So those had the biggest growth and dollar impact to the overall number there. Forbes also did a survey back in 2015 of some of the consulting companies that are out there, and these top 2 are some of the top companies that are out there, like Booz Allen. $70,000 to $105,600 without a master's, up to $219,000 with a master's. However, Glassdoor is showing more normal numbers, $69,957 for a national average, with San Antonio coming in just underneath $62,000, according to Glassdoor as well. Now, the Consulting Ideas website that I mentioned earlier, they did have some impactful pieces on when we didn't grow. So 2000 in the dot-com era, companies didn't actually cut the consultants, but they plateaued where they were as far as their earnings. They didn't sign anybody new, but they didn't lay anybody off. The other one was 2009, when we actually did see companies being let go from future strategy. The Credit Crunch Act took place, and that was the very first time that we actually saw them released, where actually they could look at their earnings and say, well, we lost this company, we lost this company, we lost this company. First and only time it's ever happened since Arthur D. Little started out himself. So let's go over what we talked about today. So review-wise, we looked at what a consultant is, how to become a consultant. We looked at the interviews with 2 consultants that I dealt with, as well as the future of a consultant as far as pay, career impact, things of that nature. So after my interview, I was just still as excited as I was before to still be a consultant. So I want to continue to get my associates here in business administration at ACCD. From there, I want to transfer to UTSA, hopefully get a background in marketing or business management as well, to start looking towards that goal. February, I'm eligible for promotion within my company and want to get myself in the marketing department if I can, to start moving my way upward that way. Now, Bernard Calvin Klein said, many people are not ready to pay for advice they can use, so the few that do break boundaries and soar higher. I think that's really impactful for the future of the consultants industries in general, because there's always going to be somebody seeking the next idea to beat out their competitors, and the consultant's always going to be that solution. Hope you guys enjoyed this today. Thank you for your time.